Parkway of Broken Dreams documents a little-known era of Las Vegas history. The film explores the bohemian scene that flourished during the 1990s. The community is connected to Maryland Parkway since it thrived around UNLV. Nowadays, it's only uninformed people who believe in the trope about Las Vegas as a cultural wasteland. Back in the day, this stereotype was to a great extent true. This is because little of the city's culture was generated by locals. Dominated by the Strip, Las Vegas was a stage that national acts used to perform for out-of-state audiences. This began to change in the 90s as a vibrant cultural movement emerged with bands, artists, and poet performers. Cafes were the center of activity. We not only learn about, but meet some of the owners of places like The Newsroom, Cafe Roma, Cafe Rainbow, and Cafe Copio. Lots of action happened at the Promenade Shopping Center. Poetry was big. As with Poetry Alive, there were lots of readings. Filmmaker PJ Perez tracked down a bunch of the poets. Being a fan of David Figler, I loved his inclusion. When it came to communicating events and playing the soundtrack to the scene, KUNV was the leader. Happening before the internet and social media, the radio station did much to promote the scene. Remember, this is when alternative culture was a thing. Nowadays, KUNV only lets its hair down on the weekends. Before it turned to the dark side and embraced smooth jazz, KUNV used to act like a college radio station 7 days a week. Nowadays, it's hard to imagine that on a Wednesday afternoon you could have heard bands like the Misfits and NWA. Speaking of music, there were bands. It's a real treat to hear punker Dirk Vermin talk about coming of age. In the film, David Figler mentions his Tippy Elvis band. Never having heard of him, I looked on YouTube, and sure enough, there's the band's demo. I think it makes for a great sonic snapshot of the scene's quirkiness. Link below. In addition to bands, record stores popped up. We spent a good amount of time with the Benway Bop owners. The film also looks at the role played by magazines such as In Music, Scope, and What's On. The meaning of the film title becomes clear as PJ Perez offers hypotheses as to why the scene faded. In this part, the great Ralph Macchio of Alternate Reality Comics is interviewed. To underscore the scene's demise, his interview was filmed just before Ralph moved the store off Maryland Parkway. Director PJ Perez crafted a fantastic film here that's an entertaining yet serious work of cultural anthropology. This story could easily have been told in book format. In the end, I'm glad it was done as a film, given the copious amount of footage. It's really surprising just how much of the scene was captured on videotape. There seems to have been a sense that people were creating something wonderful, which needed to be documented. I'm sure Perez went through great effort to upgrade the footage of countless VHS tapes. Aside from this, it's remarkable how Perez was able to track down so many of the main players. Who is this film for? People with an interest in Las Vegas history. Vegas history isn't just black and white photos of Fremont Street and lengthy monographs. It's how our city came to be what it is. As Cypher says, history is the story of us. While downtown is where the city began, it might seem like it's always been the center of local culture. The hip downtown that we appreciate today is actually a recent development, and the film explores what came before. The film is for those who lived the Maryland Parkway UNLV scene of the 90s. Parkway of Broken Dreams is for people interested in how cultural scenes rise and fall. Finally, this scene is for vegans who want to patronize our city's artists so that filmmakers like PJ Perez can afford a quality life here. What does this have to do with Las Vegas? Parkway of Broken Dreams documents an interesting chapter when local culture seems to have first crystallized. The significance could seem minor since the movement faded and the venues are now gone, but that scene served as an incubator for some to go on and weave today's culture. Aside from cats like Dirk Vermin and Figler, the Killers are connected to this scene. Beyond this, the existence of this film lends weight to the city as being culturally relevant and having a recent history that's worth telling. Where can you get this film? You can purchase a DVD of Parkway of Broken Dreams from the movie's website. You can also get the DVD from any Zia Records location in town. You can stream it through Amazon and Apple TV. You can also watch it for free with ads through Tubi and Zumo. The website also sells the movie poster, which I think is pretty cool. Links below. I think every viewer will have a unique relationship with this film depending on how long they've lived in town. For some, they lived this film. For others, they came of age or moved here after the scene was gone. Some, like me, moved into town to experience the tail end of things. I've seen live music at Cafe Roma, and I frequented Paymons. I've also visited alternate reality comics. Big B's will always be my favorite Vegas music store. And does anybody out there remember Uberschall? On a side note, I was wondering if the dive bar would get mentioned in the film. I appreciate that despite its proximity, it doesn't really blend with UNLV culture, and I'm not sure how long it's been open. That said, it's the venue on Maryland Parkway where I've seen the most bands, and hey, unlike all the other venues mentioned, it's still open. Have you watched Parkway of Broken Dreams? What did you think? Were you part of that scene? What do you think the film left out? Leave a comment below. If you liked this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Put another way, like and subscribe, as if doing so will bring you back to the 90s so that you can be reunited with your old flannel shirt. Keep it fabulous. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.